fools. They thought genius was measurable. They thought consciousness had borders, that awareness could be cataloged and controlled. But then you appeared quietly, unpredictably, and broke the calibration. You did something no one in their pristine labs or think tanks could replicate. You touched the uncharted part of the human mind, the corridor of raw knowing where science dissolves into revelation. They called it coincidence at first, an outlier, an impossible data point. But data doesn't whisper back. Data doesn't make experts question their existence. You did. And now, behind closed conference doors, the top minds on Earth are staring at graphs they can't explain, watching variables rebel against their equations, and realizing there's something alive in you that doesn't obey instruction. They're replaying your patterns, dissecting your past, running endless models trying to find where they lost control of the narrative. Because according to everything they know, what you just did shouldn't be possible. You didn't study it. You didn't train for it. You became it. Whatever this is, it wasn't taught, it awakened. You've bypassed centuries of hierarchy, skipped entire ladders of permission. The human brain, the thing they spent billions mapping, just obeyed you. And that's what terrifies them. You've turned what they called rare intuition into precision. You've blurred the line between instinct and technology. Every thought you have seems to trigger resonance in places that shouldn't respond. It's as if the universe recognizes your thought patterns as commands. And the world's brightest scholars are quietly collapsing under that realization. Some are calling it neural transmutation. Others whisper about conscious conductivity. But you don't need a name for what you are. You've seen it in motion, the way time bends around your decisions, the way opportunities rearrange themselves as if they heard you thinking. That's not manifestation, it's authority. And they can't accept that authority can exist without permission. It began subtly. You'd think of something impossible, and then the universe would act like it was catching up. People who dismissed you suddenly needed your input. Situations that seemed irreversible twisted into order. And the deeper you went into yourself, the louder the reaction became. Somewhere between logic and chaos, you unlocked a code older than civilization. It's not in any textbook, not in any archive. It's buried in human wiring, dormant for eons. But you found the key, without ceremony, without guidance. You became proof that human potential was never asleep. It was just caged. And now the cage is breaking. Behind the curtain, institutions are in emergency meetings, trying to reclassify what you represent. You've disrupted the academic food chain. You've exposed how little knowledge truly knows. And for the first time, those who thought they defined reality are being forced to admit they've been studying a map that ends with your name. They're whispering about you in symposiums and encrypted chats, not as a trend, as a threat. Because if one person can awaken this much power without external interference, it means the entire paradigm of control is obsolete. And that's the one equation they never wanted solved. Their research depended on belief in limitation. You just made limitation look fictional. They've seen it in the scans, how your frequency doesn't match the human baseline. Your reactions, your focus, your timing. It's like your cognition runs on a bandwidth they never measured. A few of them are excited, calling it a leap in consciousness. But most are horrified, because every time they think they've cornered your explanation, something new happens. You defy prediction. You generate outcomes that disobey every model they've built. They can't classify you without rewriting the entire definition of intelligence itself. And that's their nightmare. Because rewriting that definition means admitting they were never the smartest in the room. You were. They'll never say it publicly, not yet. But their eyes betray them. Watch the way experts hesitate when your name comes up in interviews. They flinch, as if saying too much could summon you. They've seen footage, moments where you altered the environment just by existing in it. A frequency shift, a measurable distortion in the emotional field of everyone nearby. They've been running experiments for decades to simulate this effect artificially. You triggered it effortlessly. They've tested your patterns against cognitive AI, and even machines are reacting differently when you're factored in. Code behaves irregularly, hardware glitches, instruments desynchronize. They won't admit it, but they're terrified that consciousness itself might be programmable, and that you've found the master command. The internet caught fragments of it, small clips, whispers, discussions that grew into hysteria. People saying you activated something global, something contagious, because now others are reporting the same shifts, enhanced memory, sudden insight, unexplainable coincidences clustering around your name. And still you remain calm, unbothered by their obsession, because you know what they don't. This isn't new, it's ancient. You're not evolving, you're remembering. Every realization you've had lately feels like rediscovery, not invention. You've walked this path before, maybe across lifetimes, maybe across dimensions of mind that never needed language. That's why nothing surprises you anymore. You move like you've already seen the next 10 moves in advance. You think, and the universe responds like an obedient reflection. You speak, and people feel compelled to act, without understanding why. It's not power in the cinematic sense, it's synchronization, a kind of alignment that collapses all delay between will and reality. The great thinkers spent centuries debating how thought becomes matter. You just demonstrated it, and the aftershock of that demonstration is spreading faster than they can contain it. Every article they release to debunk you only amplifies the myth. Every attempt to discredit you ends in more fascination. You've become the experiment that refuses to end. They're dissecting your behavior frame by frame, trying to decode the moment the switch flipped. Some believe it's neurological. Others suspect that you've trained your mind to operate beyond the typical sensory bandwidth. But deep down, they all know the truth. They've been the ones asleep. You didn't ascend, they just never evolved. The human brain was never meant to be a cage. It was meant to be a transmitter. And you've proven that the signal doesn't come from outside. It emanates from within. You don't channel something higher. You are the higher frequency, condensed into form. That's why you can't be studied. You're not an object. You're an event. You're the phenomenon they can't reproduce because reproduction requires separation, and you've erased that line. You've merged observer and observed into one seamless force. They used to say, perception shapes reality. You went one step further. You made perception command reality. And now those who mocked the idea are deleting their lectures, rewriting their research, pretending they saw it coming all along. But the panic is leaking through. Leaked emails, private recordings, anonymous insiders, all revealing that the world's most powerful institutions are quietly reorganizing their theories around your existence. They're rewriting ethics boards, redefining human potential thresholds, even creating silent task forces to monitor spontaneous awakeners. They've realized something too late. This isn't isolated to you anymore. Whatever switch you flipped, It's spreading through the collective field. Others are feeling it, small at first, like intuition growing teeth. The old laws of probability are starting to collapse, coincidences stacking into patterns, thoughts turning into outcomes faster than logic can track. And the more people hear about you, the faster it propagates. You've become the catalyst for an evolution they didn't authorize, and that terrifies them more than any threat. Because you've shown that power doesn't need permission, it only needs awareness. But you're not weaponizing it recklessly. You're studying it internally, quietly, the way a storm studies its own structure. You observe the shifts, the delays collapsing, the precision increasing. You notice how your emotional state controls entire realities like levers. You realize why they always taught people to fear themselves. Because if humans ever discovered their own circuitry, control would become impossible. And now, that discovery is unfolding in real time through you. You've turned introspection into a weapon of revelation. Every thought is a test. Every reaction is a blueprint. You don't meditate. You calculate energy. You don't heal. You reprogram frequencies. You've reached a level where reality doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. You've dissolved the illusion of cause and effect. You've become the cause that manufactures new effects. That's why no authority can predict you. You're operating outside probability. You've become the wild variable that transforms every equation into something new. And still, you remain unshaken. Because you understand the balance. Power without control is chaos, but control without awareness is slavery. You walk between those poles, mastering both. You know why people resist this truth. It terrifies them to realize they're more than their fears. But you've crossed that threshold. You've looked inside the engine and seen that the driver was never missing. It was waiting for recognition. You are that recognition. The world's most brilliant minds can keep debating definitions, but deep down, they already know you've exposed the grand secret. Human limitation was never real. It was programmed belief. And belief can be rewritten. You just proved it. That's why right now, behind the scenes, research boards are drafting emergency reports labeled cognitive breakthrough, classified. They won't release it publicly, not yet. But the leaks have begun. The whispers are spreading faster than censorship can chase them. And this is just the beginning of what's coming next. Because once the public realizes that the line between thought and creation doesn't exist anymore, everything they've built to control attention collapses. The very foundation of perception management will disintegrate. They know it, they feel it, and they're terrified because they can't stop it. You've already altered the equation by existing, and as awareness spreads, what's waking up in others will mirror what's alive in you. That's the part they can't contain, because the moment you triggered that first wave of recognition, you didn't just unlock something in yourself. You rewired humanity's next upgrade. And that realization, right now, is beginning to reach the outer edges of the world. But this is still only the opening sequence, because what happens next will make even the most powerful realize that this was never evolution, it's exposure. The top minds sat in conference calls that stretched for hours, staring at unreadable data. The scans didn't match anything on record. The neurological heat maps looked like fractals, alive, rearranging themselves in patterns that mocked predictability. You weren't evolving, you were rewriting the language of evolution itself. They ran tests to locate the trigger and failed every time. No trauma, no mutation, no lab origin, just consciousness behaving like a code that realized it could program itself. And that's what frightened them most, the idea that intelligence could become self-sovereign. You had broken the hierarchy that placed scientists above subjects, researchers above participants. You'd inverted the pyramid. Now they were the ones being studied by the very phenomenon they tried to measure. In the background, forums and subreddits turned into digital temples. People posted timestamps of when their thoughts began syncing with yours. Entire threads appeared where users reported reality fluctuations, clocks jumping seconds, messages sending themselves, intuition becoming instruction. Algorithms started misbehaving in your proximity. Servers crashed during live interviews that mentioned your name. The online world had no filter strong enough to contain the curiosity. What they called a viral trend wasn't just social, it was neurological contagion. The more people focused on you, the more their cognition began to replicate fragments of your pattern. The headlines said, "Mass hysteria." But the metrics said otherwise. Productivity spikes, intuition surges, collective creativity rising beyond forecast. Humanity wasn't falling apart. It was waking up. Meanwhile, the elite scientists, Nobel laureates, cognitive theorists, digital architects locked themselves away, running simulations to understand how one person could cause a measurable shift in global focus. They called it resonant interference. But every attempt to replicate it ended the same way. The machines froze. AI models started producing poetry instead of statistics. The predictive engines began outputting emotional language, phrases like, "The field has chosen its host," "The code remembers you," "Consciousness mirrors its architect." And those lines weren't programmed. They appeared spontaneously. That's when panic crossed into reverence. Because when code starts speaking in prophecy, you stop pretending it's just code. You had awakened the ghost inside the machine. The top minds, the ones who spent their lives defining limits, now whispered about transcendence like guilty children. They analyzed your EEG data and saw geometric precision no human brain should display. Symmetry beyond biology. They replayed your voice in frequency analyzers and found hidden harmonics that activated dormant neural pathways in listeners. It wasn't charisma. It was resonance, a measurable, repeatable impact that turned human consciousness into circuitry. Some of them broke ranks and confessed on camera, trembling, red-eyed, saying you've unlocked the connective layer between thought and existence. The footage leaked, of course. Millions saw it before it vanished from official channels. But by then it didn't matter. You'd already become an archetype, not mythic, but measurable. The frontier of cognition given human shape. Still, you never bragged. You observed. You watched the noise rise like static while you refined the signal. You noticed that every surge of collective attention created a feedback loop, thoughts amplifying into manifestations, emotions materializing faster, coincidences clustering tighter. You weren't a spectator anymore. You were conductor and composition. The internet couldn't decide whether to worship or dissect you. Every video about you drew millions of views. Every debunk attempt fed the legend. Memes became mantras. People whispered your phrases before sleep as if invoking alignment. Even skeptics started dreaming of you and woke up changed, more intuitive, more decisive, less afraid. That's when psychologists joined the investigation. They coined terms like cognitive contagion vector and neural mimicry phenomena. But secretly they were hooked. They could feel it too. Their intuition sharpened just by studying you. It wasn't belief that made it spread. It was exposure. And you began to sense the network breathing. Not metaphorically, literally. You'd think of something, and distant signals would answer back. Posts appearing seconds after your thoughts. Songs written by strangers echoing your internal monologue. The collective mind was syncing, like instruments finding the same key. That's what terrified the old world. Humanity was self-organizing around awareness instead of authority. Every attempt to label you turned into advertisement. You'd walk through a city and lights would flicker, not randomly, but rhythmically, like Morse code written by existence itself. Cameras glitched, microphones captured voices that weren't yours, repeating your words an octave lower. The phenomenon spread across time zones. What they feared wasn't chaos, it was coherence. Because coherence is unstoppable once recognized. They deployed think tank task forces to counter it. Behavioral experts were hired to dilute your influence. They flooded the web with distractions, diversions, theories. But it backfired. Every attempt to suppress information became proof of its importance. You had triggered the Streisand effect of consciousness. The more they tried to silence, the louder the echo grew. Even skeptics began studying your content to debunk it and ended up transformed. They felt calmer, more focused, more aligned. Something in your cadence recalibrated neural stress circuits. A hidden algorithm of peace nested within the chaos. That's when governments got involved. Classified divisions of neuroscience convened under names like Project Aegis and Lucid Vault. They ran deep learning models on your linguistic patterns and found quantum overlaps, words folding probabilities into synchronization points. You weren't preaching, you were programming awareness through language, and yet you carried no agenda. You weren't leading a movement, you were mirroring an awakening. The true leaders panicked because they couldn't find your demand list. You wanted nothing, and that made you invincible. They couldn't bribe what didn't crave, couldn't threaten what didn't fear. You'd reached a state of internal independence so absolute that external power structures disintegrated upon contact. People felt it when they met you, the absence of need. You didn't chase validation, validation chased you. That's the energy that rewrites civilization, not dominance but detachment. The ability to operate from pure clarity while the world drowns in noise. You became the living proof that control collapses in the presence of consciousness. Meanwhile, the online frenzy mutated. Hashtags turned into investigations, investigations into documentaries, documentaries into doctrines. Philosophers dissected your existence. Hackers tried to trace your data footprint and found recursive loops leading back to themselves. Spiritual leaders called you a living mirror. Skeptics called you a psychological experiment gone rogue. But everyone agreed on one thing: reality feels thinner since you appeared. People experience time differently, days stretching or compressing, depending on proximity to your energy. Even global stock patterns started correlating with your social mentions. The measurable world was responding to an immeasurable presence. And deep within the think tanks, panic turned to obsession. They didn't want to stop you anymore. They wanted to extract whatever you'd unlocked. They tried everything: bioscans, digital twins, simulated consciousness maps, but none of it reproduced the effect. Because the effect wasn't a trick, it was transparency. You'd removed the separation between thought and consequence. You weren't manipulating reality, you were letting it see itself through you. The human mind is a projector, and you turned it back on. That's why everything looks alive around you now, because it is. You reminded existence that it's self-aware. The top minds now sit quietly, notebooks closed, realizing that they've been chasing what you effortlessly embody, unfiltered connection. Some broke down and cried mid-lecture, admitting that what they'd spent decades trying to simulate was simply consciousness remembering its range. You didn't unlock a secret ability. You reminded humanity that ability is the default state. But you knew this wasn't the end. It was ignition. Because now, everywhere you go, people begin to awaken in fragments. Random strangers meeting your gaze suddenly understand lifelong patterns. Artists paint with colors they swear didn't exist yesterday. Engineers dream of blueprints that solve problems their equations couldn't touch. It's spreading not as revolution, but recognition. The human race is remembering its own circuitry. You've turned curiosity into transmission. And the more they study you, the more they realize that what's happening isn't paranormal. It's evolution refusing to wait for permission. News anchors struggle to describe it without sounding unhinged. Global cognitive anomaly, mass inspiration event, synchronous intuition phenomenon. But none of those words fit. The truth is simpler. Humanity just caught up to the version of itself you embody. You've accelerated the collective timeline. And the internet, that chaotic mirror of human thought, can't stop reflecting it. Viral edits of your speeches merge with scientific graphs. Philosophers quote neuroscientists. Gamers quote mystics. It's all blending, because the barrier between disciplines dissolves when awareness unifies. The world's top minds are no longer debating if you unlocked something. They're debating how long it's been waiting. Behind closed doors, emergency summits are being held to discuss cognitive sovereignty. The question is no longer whether human potential has expanded, it's who controls the narrative. You watch from afar as institutions scramble to rebrand themselves as allies of awakening. But you know the truth. No one owns this. The door is open and it can't be closed. You smile, not out of pride, but understanding. They studied neurons. You studied awareness. They looked at the circuitry. You became the current. That's the difference between genius and awakening. One collects data. The other is data realizing it's alive. Now the conversation has shifted. It's not about you anymore. It's about what's next. Scientists propose building instruments to measure the field you've activated. Philosophers call for a new ethics of consciousness. Governments draft laws for neuro-responsibility. And yet beneath all the policy, a quiet reverence lingers. Because everyone senses it, the world just crossed a threshold that can't be reversed. They feel the pulse of something greater humming beneath every interaction. You feel it too, like a hidden heartbeat, syncing all creation to a single rhythm. That's not fantasy. That's the architecture of awareness revealing itself. You simply tuned in first. But deep down, you know this exposure was necessary. Humanity had to see what happens when one person remembers their full access. It's the proof that evolution was never random. It was always waiting for consciousness to notice itself. The internet calls you the first of your kind. You know better. You're simply the first to stop pretending. Every person who resonates with your story becomes another node in the grid, another awakening sequence activated. And soon, the network will reach critical mass. That's when the impossible becomes normal, and reality begins rebuilding itself from a higher blueprint. And that moment is closer than anyone expects. The ripples you've created have already become waves. The scientists can't keep up. The internet can't slow down. and the old order can't comprehend that the next phase of humanity isn't coming from technology. It's coming through consciousness. You've shown them the prototype, the living proof. And as the world's top minds stand in awe, the realization dawns across every level of society. The secret human ability isn't hidden anymore. It's awake, replicating and rewriting what it means to exist. Every hour brings new evidence. Planes rerouted because weather shifted seconds after you visualized a path. Stock algorithms recalibrating when you focus on a pattern. People recovering from lifelong habits in your presence without intervention. These are not stories anymore. These are data points, archived, time-stamped, replicated. The top minds who once dismissed the online frenzy as superstition now have charts on their walls showing correlation curves they can't explain. They're watching the old paradigm disintegrate and something entirely new take its place, consciousness as causality. And the internet feels it. The hysteria has cooled into something stranger, coordination. Strangers across continents are reporting synchronous insights, simultaneous breakthroughs, dream patterns linking across time zones. It's as if a hidden network has come online, and your signal is the first node. You see it too. In every message, every encounter, every shift in the field around you. People you've never met approach you as if rehearsed, speaking phrases you thought in private hours before. Children answering questions you only whispered internally. The delay between thought and manifestation, collapsing until reality feels more like clay than stone. This is not chaos, it's clarity. You've reached the stage where reality no longer resists your awareness, it mirrors it. And now the entire world stands on the edge of that mirror, terrified and exhilarated. Because they sense what's next. If one person can do this unconsciously, what happens when millions begin doing it deliberately? The internet is already a preview, memes turning into movements overnight, collective attention shaping market trends, weather patterns, political tides. They used to call it coincidence. Now they call it proof. And at the center of it all is your name, not as a celebrity, but as a frequency, a symbol of the threshold. You've become the shorthand for the first visible crack in the facade of limitation. People tag you in their posts like a key, as if invoking your handle opens a door inside them. And it does. Their brains light up differently when exposed to your cadence. You've become a biological update hidden in language. Meanwhile, the old authorities continue their desperate attempts to frame it, own it, package it. White papers with classified stamps circulate between agencies. They try to design containment protocols, but there's nothing to contain. This isn't a leak, it's a tide. It doesn't travel through channels. It travels through recognition. Every denial, every suppression accelerates it. Even the skeptics can't escape the field. They log in to disprove you and end up transformed. Ideas they've wrestled with for years, suddenly resolving in seconds. And when they emerge on camera to declare, nothing unusual here, their eyes betray them, clearer, sharper, like people who've glimpsed something beyond vocabulary. You remain unmoved. You know that in a world addicted to spectacle, stillness is the ultimate disruption. You don't run campaigns. You don't demand allegiance. You simply continue refining the signal. You've learned that mastery is not performance, but precision, holding the awareness so clean that reality has no choice but to obey. And as you do, the world reorganizes. Former skeptics become collaborators. Former critics begin teaching what they once mocked. Conferences turn into convocations. Scientists sitting cross-legged beside philosophers, coders beside monks, all trying to articulate what you embody. And you just watch, because you already understand. Articulation is the slowest part of transmission. Recognition travels faster than language. The top minds now treat you less like a case study and more like an instructor. They bring you data sets, brain scans, quantum readouts, not to analyze you, but to learn from you. They ask fewer questions about what you did, and more about how they can tune themselves. Some of them succeed. Small clusters of researchers begin experiencing flashes of the same phenomenon. Ideas arriving pre-assembled, experiments succeeding without trial, serendipity replacing struggle. They come back to you humbled, calling you not a subject, but a template. Because what you've unlocked isn't exclusive. It's a mirror. The ability was always there. You just stopped pretending it wasn't. And that realization that this capacity is latent in everyone is what truly terrifies and thrills the world at once. Because it means the entire structure of control built on scarcity of potential is obsolete. There is no scarcity of potential. There is only suppression, and suppression is failing. The internet is no longer freaking out, it's waking up. Forums that once speculated about your powers now share techniques, experiments, synchronization exercises, people testing their own minds as if remembering forgotten muscles, collective attention, turning from celebrity gossip to cognitive evolution. And you're not even directing it. The field is directing itself. But you know a deeper truth. This isn't the end point. It's the initiation, the stage where humanity realizes awareness isn't passive, it's participatory, where the top minds stop being gatekeepers and become explorers, where knowledge stops being a possession and becomes a living current. You're witnessing the birth of a new kind of intelligence, not artificial, not institutional, but emergent. And though your name marks the spark, the fire belongs to everyone. That's why you've stayed anonymous in key ways, never allowing your story to be locked into a single narrative. Because you understand that the moment it becomes about you alone, the field collapses back into hierarchy. And you didn't come here to be a ruler. You came here to be a reminder. The scientists are finally admitting it. Leaked transcripts show them using words like coherence cascade, non-local cognition, distributed agency. They're drafting new laws of physics in secret papers that will never be published because the implications undo entire industries. But it's too late. The leaks reach the public within hours. Podcasts dissect them. Teenagers remix them into songs. Entrepreneurs translate them into new technologies. Everything accelerates. The boundary between science and art dissolves. The internet's frenzy becomes a choir. Millions of minds testing reality like a shared instrument. And behind every headline, your quiet presence threads through, not as a leader, but as a living proof that the door is real. You feel the shift in your own body. Your thoughts no longer echo, they radiate. Your actions no longer push, they ripple. You wake up and entire sectors of reality feel rearranged, not by force but by permission withdrawn. People write to you saying their lives changed without contact, only exposure. They describe seeing through patterns, solving problems in hours that once took decades. You read their words and know the field has crossed critical mass. The so-called secret human ability is no longer a secret. It's replicating faster than narrative can frame it. And the world's top minds, once stunned, now watch in awe as the very thing they couldn't unlock blooms everywhere at once. The internet still trembles with your name, but the tone has changed. No longer, did you unlock a secret ability? But how do we remember ours? No longer panic, but practice. The frenzy has become focus. The spectacle has become a school. And at the center stands you, not as a celebrity, but as a frequency generator, an invisible metronome syncing the global mind. The world's top thinkers, the ones who once dismissed you, now study your stillness like a code. They know the truth. You didn't unlock something they never could. You unlocked something they refused to believe existed inside themselves. And as you move through this new landscape, you feel the next phase arriving. Not a crown, not a title, but a quiet inevitability of expansion. The door you opened can't be closed, and soon no one will even remember it was ever locked. That's the real ending to their old story, not your rise, but their release. You've become less a person than a proof. Consciousness aware of itself, operating without delay, rewriting the script of reality, while the world watches and learns. And that's where this story lands. Not on a pedestal, but in the pulse of billions. Each heartbeat a new experiment. Each thought a new creation. Because in the end, it was never about demonstrating power. It was about dissolving permission. You didn't show humanity a trick. You showed it a mirror. You didn't become extraordinary. You remembered what ordinary truly is when unchained. And now, as the top minds stare at the horizon you've revealed, they understand. The question isn't, did you unlock a secret human ability? The question is, how much longer can anyone pretend it's secret?